What's going on, y'all? So, we're gonna do this real quickly. Well, not real quickly, but we want to make sure that you still get in what you need. So the chat has officially started. Let me turn this down. Chat has officially started. Okay. So some of you who were in the chat yesterday, we did get a lot done yesterday, and we are just kind of backtracking on some of the things that we already did, and then we're going to move on. So yesterday we talked about the first listed diagnosis. So as you can see, there are different types of diagnosis that you are going to indicate when you're coding. Okay. Yesterday, remember I said it was going to be an additional chat for chapter 3, and there will be a couple of more chats for chapter 3. Okay, there are going to be a couple more chats for chapter 3. I know it's Sunday morning and it's early, but let's get it in and get it out. Okay, so we are in the step-by-step book, and today I'm just going to put you in the right place. Today is not a normal chat, but I wanted to go ahead and do a little bit more in this chat because we didn't get to finish chapter 3 yesterday, and we're not going to finish chapter 3 today. But I do want you to see what we were doing yesterday. So we're in chapter 3. Okay, I'm not sure why this one is not over there. We're in chapter 3, and you guys are going to review the first listed diagnosis because we did that yesterday. Okay, some of you who are just starting in the classroom or who have just gotten here, just go over some of the other chats, and in those chats you can see what we have been doing. Okay, the chats are coded. So I'm going to put it over here. Sometimes you might see a chat that says Sapphire, ED, CLS, CDG 2. Okay, I'm going to put it up here so you can see it. And all the chats are in order. So CLS is class. Okay, CDG is coding. And then you have 2. Okay. And they all should be in order. If somebody's just joining this class who have not joined my class before, these chats should be in order. Okay, so if you have any problems, especially when you're training yourself or you're learning yourself and you've got any issues, they should come up. Okay, let me take this down. I'm not sure why that's like that. Okay. So we've already got this one. We've got this one live. I don't know why it's popping up like this, but I will try to put it. I'm gonna try to change up real quick and let's see what happens. That one is automatically on and we started a new scene. But sometimes when I go on, I can't get the multi to play. But anyway, let's just kind of move on just to kind of put you guys in the right place. Okay, so we were doing the first listed diagnosis yesterday. And I wanted you guys to go ahead and look up whatever codes that are there. I'm on page 45, and this is just a quick backtrack. Okay, so the first listed diagnosis, the majority of the services that a physician will provide are outpatient services. Okay, so this chapter will start with assigning I-10 diagnosis. I-10 is the same as ICD-10-CM. They just shortened it, that's all. Okay, so again, yesterday we did the first listed diagnosis, and again, every chapter will have guidelines. So there are, official coding guidelines for first listed diagnosis. So make sure that you guys read them. We went over them yesterday. Okay, and it's telling you on page 46 how to identify the first listed diagnosis. And we went over that yesterday, so I don't need to really go over that completely. We just want to go over it a little bit. In the outpatient setting, the term first listed diagnosis is used in lieu of principal diagnosis. in determining the first listed diagnosis, the coding conventions of ICD-10-CM, as well as the general and disease-specific guidelines take precedence over the outpatient guidelines. Now, um, that is something that I told you guys to make sure that you remember what takes precedence over guidelines and what doesn't. Okay, and in this case, we want to just kind of make sure that you are clarity with that in case you do get something like that on your exam. Okay, so you remember when I said to make sure you take notes and make sure you mark your book. I did bring these out just to kind of show you, which you guys have seen these already. I don't know if you can actually see them. You guys have seen these already. They are like, they're the tabs that I want you to tab your book with. And they're going to help you to flip through your book and find what you need to find when you're taking your test. So you are going to use a labeler with that, okay? If you don't want to use a labeler, that's fine. You can get them already posted, already named. Go to my website; they're all in there. Okay. I'm gonna put the ICD-10 book up in case there are some who do not have their ICD-10 book. Now, for your step-by-step book, yes, you do need your ICD-10 to work with that. Okay. You need your ICD-10. So as you're working on the first listed codes, make sure that you have your ICD-10. Okay. Okay, let me just get back to where we're at right here. Okay, so again, we did go over the first listed, but we're just kind of backtracking just in case we get some in that didn't get in on that class. Even so, you still can archive. So we were down to the examples, select the first listed diagnosis. And in these examples, I told you guys to go ahead and look up the codes that they have in there. Okay. Let's just do the first one, even though we did it yesterday. Established 50-year-old patient was seen in the clinic for acute bronchitis. Patient also received a prescription for a refill of medication for hypertension. The first listed diagnosis is acute bronchitis. I'm on page 46. Okay. So the first listed diagnosis, what we had talked about is a patient's really like chief complaint. So we can't determine what's wrong with the patient until the provider actually does the diagnosis of the patient. Most physicians will document the chief complaint of the patient for each encounter in the medical record. The chief complaint is CC. Okay, CC. Don't get that mixed up with correct claim. All right, because in the 1500s, in the billing, it's going to CC is going to mean. Let me get back in here. CC is going to mean correct claim, and on a 1500 claim form, you put correct claim on there. So just be careful of that. If you're in a subject that's talking about coding, then you're talking about chief complaint. If you're in a section that's talking about billing, or it's a billing question, you know it means corrective claim. Okay, so just wanted to get that in there. All right, so again, those codes that we had, I'm gonna pop them up real quick. Yesterday, yes, you guys were to do these codes. Okay, and again, if you don't have your book, just try to get your book, or go to Kindle, or go to my website. You can purchase your book there. Those of you who starting out with language of medicine, you can also go to my website, and I think that the ebook there, I think it's $25. It's automatic download, so as soon as you click, it's there. I gotta check that. All right, so let's move on. This is gonna be a quick class. We're gonna try to get this over at 10 to 10:15. Okay, and I know around then it's going to be time for y'all to go to church. So, first listed diagnosis, you guys were supposed to do the questions in the first listed diagnosis. Make sure you do those questions. And remember, if you have questions that are not in your book, as far as when you actually finish with them and you want to check them, just let me know, or you can go online and ask. They'll give you the answer. And there's also something online. It's like a cheat sheet AI thing where um, you can put in a code and it will it will help you out and tell you what the code is XYZ. But you still gonna check the code in your book. But I'm gonna get that link. I'm gonna get that link and then I'm gonna put it up there. Let me find it right now. Okay, I don't want you to tell me the code. I want you to tell me the link that we used to use years ago. And this is a good one too. But I mean, I don't think anybody uses that anymore. It's like a website where you convert ICD-9 to 10. I don't even think that is necessary at all anymore. So I'm kind of surprised that this only coming up with ICD-9. Are they serious? So I don't see it right now, but when I get it, we'll put it in there for the next class. Um, it's a website that you guys can go on that can also give you ideas in regards to the coding. I'm gonna pull up the workbook. I got the book up, but I also want to pull up the workbook because you guys are also working in the workbook. And remember, this is for beginners. Okay, so this class is for beginners, and we are identifying what the first listed code is. Now, again, when you start working, you should already know this, but for your test, for your CPC, you may get questions regarding first listed codes. It may say, let me put this up. It may say, what's the first listed code, or how do you identify it, or whatever. You've got the first listed chief complaint. You got your primary diagnosis. On your CPC, you could get any of those questions. Now, will you need this after? Probably not, but if you want to go back and check some of your stuff, yes, you need to. You need to make sure that you go over this. Okay, so we're not on chapter 7. I just, for some strange reason, it popped up on chapter 7. So I'm actually in the workbook. Okay, and I'm on page 9 in the workbook, and I'm just trying to see what this is. 3. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at it just to make sure that everything is in sync as far as what you guys are reading. So, like I said, in this chapter, you guys are going to continue to look at your first listed codes. Now, there's a lot of work in here. Now we're going to go to the unconfirmed diagnosis. I'm on page 48. Often it may take several encounters before diagnosis to confirm, which that's normal. I mean, you have patients that come in and the provider cannot decipher what the code is, right then and there. I mean, the patient may have to come back several times. They may have to have lab tests, to get a complete diagnosis. I mean, it's kind of almost like even, oncology. When patients are in remission, they have to keep coming back to make sure that they are in remission. Because again, who wants to continue to get, chemo if you don't have to? I'm pretty sure there are hundreds of patients, millions of patients that don't have to get chemo, and they're in remission. But for the doctor to determine that the patient does have to continue to come back. So just make sure that when you are reading that, I'm right here. When you are reading that, if you need to use your index cards to take notes on that, just go ahead and take notes on that, because again, it's something that could be on your CPC. But as we're going through this step-by-step book, just like I said again, make sure you have your ICD-10 book open. This is so that you can get used to your book, okay? And then we're gonna actually go through one of the examples that's on here is giving you something in regards to 2 or more visits before a diagnosis is confirmed. That's pretty much what we just talked about. but they're still giving you, it's giving you a couple of examples. I'm gonna give you this one right here. Follow-up office visit: 30-year-old woman is seen following her repeat thyroid function studies, and her hypothyroidism has responded to the Synthroid. She will be maintained on her current dose. And then they're giving you the code on the bottom. Okay, this is where I'm at right here. EO 3.9, hypothyroidism is the reason for the visit. So they're pretty much giving you what the code is, but I still want you to look at the code. So every time you get a code, I still want you to kind of look at it. I'm just put it right here. So just kind of like find the codes, and it's just gonna get you used to all the codes. The more you look at your book, the more you know how to find those codes. I'm gonna put all the rest of those coding books up there. I'm also gonna put this up here. This is that chat that we did on AAPC. A lot of people ask me about AAPC, so I want to make sure I put that there. And in that chat, AAPC website and everything is also there. And we also, I'm going to put this up here too, because when I do YTU, I always give you all this book. So this is a free book for y'all. This book is $30. This book is $30, but I'm giving it to my YTU students, and whoever views this chat, you guys can get that book. So yeah, the AAPC chat that I got in there is for you guys to take a look at. I thought I stopped doing years ago. I still do it. It's for you guys to see, what AAPC is about, or what they have to deliver, their tests, and most people, once you take your CPC, they always take more. They always take more. So you may see other exams that you want to do in there. Okay, what I'm putting up is the Kindle free books, the free samples. So some of you who have not dived into coding before, and you look at that billing and coding Q&A book that I just put in there, you may want to look at some of these coding books, and this is also free. Because you never know, you may not know, if coding is for you, or if that's the decision you want to make. Okay, so okay, again, let's get back to unconfirmed diagnosis, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Unconfirmed diagnosis. In the reading book, there are exercises there. So that I want you to do. The other one we just did, those are like examples. So those examples are on page 48. And there's actually a couple of tests there, not tests, like exercises as well. Initial office visit, initial as in first office visit for a 28-year-old male with persistent abdominal pain. I ain't gonna say that part, y'all go ahead and read that. Pain schedule for small bowel x-ray colonoscopy. So you guys can go ahead and read that, and I want you guys to go ahead and get the codes for that. This is how you test yourself. This is how you test your own self, to see if you even have the stamina to sit here and do this yourself, because you're not in a classroom, and you know how hard they are on us, especially like people who do online schooling, people who do schooling at home or whatever. It's just like how people sit in a classroom. You still have to pay attention, okay? And it's like the one that I hear all the time is people who do online school never finish, or people who do online school don't pay attention. People who do online school is a fake school. People who do online school they're not gonna succeed, or they got a paper degree or something like that. Let me tell you something. Millions of people have went online for school, which y'all know that. If it wasn't good, then they still wouldn't have online education around. The thing about it is, the person who's taking and doing the education, this person has to make sure that they steadfast. Okay, so it's not just you during your education, online, and I don't know why people always say that. When you take an online course, and then you sit there and say, you know, they don't like an online course, but they are not able to do the online course, but they don't like their online course. How can you chastise an online course when you can't even sit there through one class of an online course without saying something negative? So, sorry, I gotta answer this, y'all. So, when you are in an online course, just pay attention. And in retrospect to that, you don't even have to. I don't know why this is saying upcoming. Hold on, y'all. So, in an online course, you don't even have to be in on the online class. You can archive the class and keep it moving. At Sapphire Academy, you guys can get me whenever you need to get me. When I finish with this, I'm supposed to be in church. I won't be late for church because I got to get this into you guys, and then I can just kind of backtrack. Church ain't started yet, but that's what I'm supposed to be. But I want to make sure that you guys get this first listed, because this is not a regular class. This is y'all's class is Monday, Friday, and Saturday. I just thought I wanted to try and do it before church because chapter 3 was longer than the regular. Okay, I'm gonna put it up here real quick. Chapter 3 is a little bit longer than the regular because I wanted to make sure you guys got that first listed down. And again, don't let anybody tell you cannot do this. This is like the easiest thing in the world. I'm talking about online school, period. You can, to me, online school does give you more work. They give you more work. In the Sapphire Academy, they have more work than the regular medical billing class. They got to do the exercise, and they should be doing the tests that I'm giving them, and they get a competency. And I make sure that they're prepared to take their CPC. They don't leave my class until they pass the CPC. So that's different. There's no time frame in regards to that. Even though we have the 10 weeks, the fast track 6 weeks, we have the 20 weeks, and we have the 40 weeks. But you do not leave Sapphire Academy if I think you cannot pass that test. I have some that cannot afford to take that test. That's why we do the dollar thing, so we can help everybody pay for their test. We do the dollar susu in case somebody can't afford their membership. So let's get back, because y'all know I go on and on and on. So the first listed diagnosis is what we went over yesterday, and we just kind of closed out. We closed out on that, and now we're doing the unconfirmed diagnosis. Unconfirmed diagnosis, the provider may have the patient come back several times before he actually gives the patient a final diagnosis. Okay, so I'm on page 49, and this is a small section, but there are exercises in there that I think YTU, Sapphire, both of you guys should also do, in addition to your workbook. Again, I put those links up there, and you can still go to Kindle and get these books right here too. It's like a sample in there, but these questions I want you to do as far as the unconfirmed diagnosis. Now, in the unconfirmed diagnosis, it's the same thing. They have examples, and they have guidelines to also tell you. I'm just going to go over this one again. So, unconfirmed diagnosis listed. Okay, don't say listed, it's going to get them confused. Unconfirmed diagnosis. Often, it may take several encounters as in visits, before the diagnosis is confirmed. In these instances, report the symptoms or signs that occasioned the encounter, signs that the patient came in on different occasions. Okay, so just when you start reading this, just turn this thing around to where you can decipher it. Okay, so I want you guys to do that first one, and in some of these examples, it's telling you what the codes are. So I don't know if I did this one, but I'm gonna do this one. Initial office visit: 30-year-old woman complains of fatigue, abnormal weight gain, and constipation. Lab studies including thyroid function tests were ordered. Patient will return in 2 weeks. At this point, she still doesn't have diagnosis yet. In this case, the only reportable diagnoses are symptom codes, and no specific diagnosis has been confirmed during this visit. Now, we haven't gotten to, I'm gonna put this real quick. We haven't gotten to signs and symptoms yet. Now, in coding, you can code signs and symptoms even if the patient doesn't have a definitive diagnosis. Because if she doesn't have one, you have to code the signs and symptoms. So it looks like that's what they did here. So here, I know you guys can't see this. I'm gonna pull this out. Can I pull this out? Yeah. All right. So that's a little bit better. So right here where they got the codes at. So when you guys hear me say I want y'all to look up the codes too, this is what I want y'all to still look. Even though it's giving it to you, I still want y'all to look for those codes. Go to the tabular list and go find aura. And remember I said when you get your tabular list, go into chapter, look for aura, and that's where your codes are going to be. But anyway, they coded this based on her signs and symptoms. So the provider in this case has not given her a definitive diagnosis. Okay, so again, these are examples right here. These are examples right here, but the bottom is going to be questions. Let me see if I can move this while I'm looking at it. Oh, very good. And these are the exercises. This is where you're going to do this yourself. Okay. Now, don't forget what you guys see in here. I have to make these videos private, and then these videos are going to be pulled out and put into the Sapphire Academy. I'm not going to pull this out right away. I'm not pulling out anything right away, but these have to be pulled out and they have to go into the Sapphire Academy. So YTU, make sure that you get in there on that $59 thing if you want to get in on the other classes. Okay, you guys get in on the Sapphire Academy. There's books also included in there. Okay, we're still going to do the multi-streaming across the board, but I have to in turn make them private. I'm not sure what accreditation is going to make me do. But I know that they are going to tell me to take the videos off of YouTube. So they haven't told me yet. I just now finished my accreditation paperwork. We're accreditation ready. You guys don't have to worry. No, I don't have to be accredited online, but you'll know how Miss Lambert is. I have everything ready for when they knock at my door. And the one thing we talked about was me doing the classes on YouTube. So I'm gonna try to get around it and see, I don't know. But for now, you guys make sure you get this down, okay? And we are on class number 10. You may have about 30 classes in the coding. We are only on class 10. So again, make sure that you do those exercises in there, okay? So yeah, I mean, that was one of the discussions. Is the fact that I'm doing the classes on YouTube, which I wasn't, but I want to. So I don't know what else we're gonna talk about, but we'll see. So again, this section is pretty long, and we just did unconfirmed diagnosis. Now, as I'm looking at chapter 3 in the workbook. So some of you, if you got your workbook, pull up your workbook in chapter 3. I'm pulling up the workbook in chapter 3. This is a student's book I'm looking at right now. And I don't see nowhere where it's talking about unconfirmed diagnosis. I see a lot of other stuff that's a little bit further down, but it's still going to entitle you to do this, okay? So it's asking you to do the theory of current copy ICD. Okay, we know. Code and report. Okay, we know that. Section 4, diagnostic coding and reporting guidelines for outpatient service. Okay, so it's still giving you guideline questions. Okay, and you guys should know those by now. Look, these are open and closed questions, true and false, stuff like that. What's the purpose of that? Well, I've already given y'all those. That link that y'all just see me put up there. That's the descriptions that I always put below, so you guys can get those free books. You get the Amazon books, and here I can put it up there. Hold on, I don't know if y'all was able to see it. Where is it at? they could see that. This is nothing. This. I always put this up here for y'all. Um, I can put this up here. This is the description that is below. Okay, let me see if it'll let me do it. I should have it in there. It ain't on camera. Haha. Media source. What's media source? I got 1, 2, 3. So they're all open, but I'm not sure why. But it's not letting me. It's not letting me let y'all see this. But anyway, it is the description that's below. Okay, I just have to do another one and put it up there for you guys. I usually have 2 windows up there. I'm surprised that this one did not. Let me put that one up here. Let me see. Y'all know I hate when I can't do something. So hold on. I want to know why. Why let me do that? I just want to put this up. Let me do it. Okay, hold on, y'all. I want to show y'all. 3. All right. I know y'all can see this, but I'm looking for the thing I wanted to show y'all. I don't know, I forgot the name of it, but books, window, this. So you guys see this? I'm gonna shrink it down. This is the description that I actually have up there, and I'm putting this up here because I want to make sure y'all make sure y'all look at the description. Look at the description below, because here, some of you who don't have your books, this is where I put the ISBNs of the books. This is where I put the names of the books, how you search for the books. Right here is where you go on Elsevier to look for the books. And look, this is all in your description below. It says YouTube students coding training join us. Students can also purchase courses here. These links let you, the YouTube student, purchase courses for $9.99. It lets only you, the YouTube student, purchase the whole program for $59. Here is also the AAPC chat that we did. The medical billing and coding Q&A book is there. I've given that book as a courtesy to my YouTube students or anybody who's used any of my chats, okay? This is a YouTube chat that is inspiring that I want you guys to take a look at. And it's just telling you about the 4 CEOs and the founders and how they started their company. Okay, so I wanted you guys to kind of look at that. Here below is telling you how to go to Evolve and look at the books and order the books from Evolve if you want to. That's Elsevier. Remember, you can also go on my website and order the books as well. Here is the ISBN numbers. Okay, ISBN numbers for your medical insurance billing book, ISBN numbers for your step-by-step book, your step-by-step workbook, ISBN numbers for your language of medicine. Now remember, the language of medicine book is also in the Sapphire coding bookstore. It's $25. Your CPT book of ISBN, okay, Amazon's ISBN, your ICD-10 ISBN, HCPCS ISBN. All of my information is also there. The Kindle.com link is also there. AAPC link is also there. Okay, and all of the Kindle sample books are also there. So I even put the canvas there. Somebody asked me about Amazon, so I also put that on there as well. Okay, so just make sure that you guys are looking at that. Okay, okay, so I'm gonna take this down. So why is that still up there? Down. Okay, and we can take this one down. So just kind of be precarious about what I post, because I try to post things that you guys are going to need. All right, I'm looking down. What's in chapter 3? The first part of chapter 3 is also guidelines, and you know that in the guidelines, you know that the guidelines are very important. Okay, in my Windows 2, this is where you're going to start looking up ICD-10 codes. Okay, that's where you're going to start looking up ICD-10 codes. Now, you have to have your book in order for you guys to look up those codes. Okay, so I'm on page 11 in the workbook. So everybody take out your workbook, because I want you guys to see it. Now you should have your ICD-10, you should have your workbook, your reading book, and then you should have your workbook out somewhere. Put your chair there, put your book here, put your chair right there, get your books out. So here, on page 11, you're going to look up the codes, the same thing. Okay, you're gonna look up the codes, and this is pretty much what we showed you yesterday. It's still in chapter 3. Established 50-year-old patient with end-stage renal disease currently receiving dialysis seen for acute lower respiratory pain. First is the diagnosis. You're going to give them a description of what the first listed diagnosis is. The answer's already in the question. Y'all know, y'all hear me say that all the time. The answer's in the question, and then you're going to do the numeric portion. Okay. So I'm just kind of going through here to see if I see something, because you ain't doing the workbook yet. Remember, I said don't do the workbook yet. Okay, you got that 23. So you got like 24 questions. Wow. Okay. I just want to see this whole thing and see what's in here. Encounter for insulin pump titration. All right. So it looks pretty good. Oh, I love it. So listen, when you get ready to do, let's take this off. What is it? This is this Windows. Is this one? We can take that one off because for some reason this keeps coming off. So I'm gonna garbage that. Garbage. I know. I'll tell you right now. I'm getting used to this thing like crazy. All right. I don't know what new image is. I'm not even sure what the media source is. Let me see. Oh, I got something behind that, but I don't need that either. So let's get rid of that. There must be something I'll put. Yeah, let's get rid of media source 3. I don't know what it is. I generally just like the 3 things that I put up there, and that's it. So this is again the workbook that I'm looking at. So again, I'm looking at the workbook, but I don't want you guys to do any of the workbook just yet. I want you to do more of the reading before you start messing with the workbook. So I'm just I gotta pull up my ICD-10 book. Okay. I'm pull up my ICD-10 book, and like I said, these classes, the coding classes, are going to be a lot longer. They may be 30 classes, but again, you guys have classes 3 times a week, and I am going to decipher it and put it in regular portions, because we did that in the StreamYard. The StreamYard is a little bit different, but in the StreamYard, I kind of broke down what your classes are. I'm just trying to get my ICD-10 book. But again, in the coding classes, they are going to be a lot longer than the other classes, and that's because you've got ICD-10, you've got CPT, you've got HCPCS, and then you've got CPC. So when we get to the CPC portion, that's your advanced portion. That's when you are one step closer to taking your CPC. We go over it step by step. Okay. So I just wanted to pull up my ICD-10 book. Let's get to. I just want to get to my ICD-10 book, just as in case some of y'all missed it. Y'all didn't get a chance to backtrack. So this is the chapter section in your ICD-10 book. This is for my new people. I got people who are beginners. This is a beginner class. This is your first chapter. Okay? And you see where it says A00-B99. That's how you're going to find your codes in the tabular list. Okay? You find your chapter, okay, and look at the diagnosis codes. Let me see if I can get this in here. This is going to help you find it. These are those tabs I was telling you about that I have them in my book. I don't know are these in the bookstore? They should be in there. I got like 1,000 of them. These are also in my bookstore. Okay, and this is what I use to tab my book. Okay. Well, all of y'all should be using that to tab your book, or you use the other thing to tab your book. What's that thing we had to tab the book? I can't think of what it is, but let me find it. I know y'all see me messing with this thing all the time. I know. I'm gonna find it so I can show y'all. I will have to make sure that y'all have what you can find. I don't know if you can see this, the window capture. Can you guys see the window capture? So I don't know why it's looking like that. You know why it looks like that? It looks like that because I'm streaming across 5 different streams, and that's why you see 5 different streams up there. And I gotta stop messing around with it. I tell you, I have it down packed one day, but I can't find the tabs right now. I don't want the have to be found and stuff. Okay. So, but anyway, we are on chapter 3, and I'm going back to the step-by-step workbook, y'all. Okay, so that's unconfirmed diagnosis. Okay, we just went over unconfirmed diagnosis. Okay, y'all do those exercises. So we are doing the reading book before we even touch the other book. It's 9:55. I got 20 minutes. Okay, outpatient surgery. Outpatient surgery. I'm on page 49, y'all. Okay, so you guys can go to section 4, decimal A, decimal 1, outpatient surgery. So this is you getting used to your ICD-10 book. So you can go to your ICD-10 book, and go to that section that I just told you. Okay, this section, so section 4, decimal A, decimal 1, decimal outpatient surgery. So I'm going up. And when you hear say section like that, it's actually the guidelines, okay? That's the guidelines when you hear it say section, because you remember when we did the guidelines, you know it's a section, right? Y'all want me to pull up the other ones? I can pull up the AMA because I have the buck version. So let me see if we can get in there. I'm giving y'all a few minutes to find that, okay? I'm trying to get to the section so you guys can see a section. So look, so I might pull up the other book too so you guys can see. So look, so remember I said section. This is the section. So you know this is section 1, right? Which I don't care what ICD-10 book you got, you know that's section 1, right? That's section 1. What did they say? Section 4? So they said section 4, right? Let me go back to it. Section 4A1. Look, section 4. Do I got y'all on there? Yeah. Section 4A1, outpatient surgery. Section 4, period A, period 1, period outpatient surgery. Right? Look. And make sure you pay attention to that, because you see how that description is up there? On your CPC, they're going to ask you to go to sections in the guidelines. That's how you go to sections in the guidelines. Okay? That's how they code it. That's how you go to sections in the guidelines. So, and again, you know, you're going to keep your ICD-10 book open. Okay, because it's gonna be your go-to. Okay, so we just did this. So you see this right here. We just look for this section 4, period A, period 1, period outpatient. So y'all got your book. I want y'all to go try to find that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to again. I'm gonna go back to the step-by-step book. I'm gonna go to the beginning. Let me show y'all how to find those things. So this is your introduction. This is your guideline portion. Okay. You see here where it says section 1, right? Because on your test, AAPC they're gonna give you something exactly like that. You're gonna have to find it. So this is section 1, right? So they said section 4. Let me show you again. See, section 4, period A, period 1, period outpatient. Because that's the guidelines. You got to make sure you paw on that. Okay? So, section 1, I'm scrolling down. I'm still in the guidelines. Keep going down. Keep going down. Because they didn't say section 2. They said section 4. So, this is section 4, period A, right? Period 1, period outpatient. There it is, right there. So that's pretty much what they want you to look at. Okay, that's what they want you to look at. But on your CPC, they're gonna be asking you to find those things. So when a patient presents, we're an outpatient, y'all. So those are the outpatient guidelines. Y'all can go ahead and read them. When a patient presents for outpatient surgery, same day surgery, in parentheses, code the reason for the surgery as the first listed diagnosis. Reason for the encounter, that's in parentheses. Even if the surgery is not performed due to a contradiction. Okay, contradiction as in, no, we might have to do this tomorrow. Because, okay, so, and here they're giving you examples. They're giving you examples right here. I'm on page 49. They're giving you examples of outpatient surgery. Okay, patient with a history of asthma present for an outpatient TNA due to chronic tonsillitis. First listed diagnosis J35.01, chronic tonsillitis. Now remember, I told y'all to go look for this. So, y'all got your ICD-10 book. Pause for 5 minutes and go look for this code. Find this code. Find this code. Okay, find this code. So, for you to find this code, right? I'm going to the ICD-10 book. Remember, I said you go to your tabular list. Right? Go to your tabular list. It was a J code. It was a J code. So this is the tabular list, and these are the chapters, right? Certain infectious diseases, neoplasm diseases. So now you're going to find that J code. Here go the J codes right here in chapter 16. So the J codes are in chapter 16, whichever book you have. Okay? I'm just clicking on it because I have the ebook. I can click on it. You have a physical book, get the page and flip and go find it. If your pages are not tabbed yet, don't worry about them. Just tab them later. Okay? When you get in there with the J code, I want you to go over these guidelines. That's the reason why I want you to look up the codes when you spot codes. Okay? So, and this chapter is disease of the respiratory system. All right, GG. Now, when you get to the Hicks book, don't get confused, because the Hicks book, the drugs are starting with the J codes. This one is different. Okay, this is your regular book, your regular ICD-10. Okay, that you'll be doing those codes in. So you guys see how intangible it is when you're looking through your book and you're passing through those pages, because that's the only way you're gonna remember it. So that's why I want you to go ahead and look at those. Go ahead and look at those codes, okay? So I'm going back to the Elsevier book step by step, because that's what we're in. So we're in outpatient, and you're going to do the exercises from outpatient, from the outpatient section. I'm on page 49. Okay, outpatient surgery. Without the use of reference material. They're just saying they want you to answer these questions without the use of reference material. No, I want you to use your book. Okay, so when a patient present for outpatient surgery, the reason for surgery should be reported as the first listed diagnosis. Now, we went over first listed diagnosis, so you should be more familiar with what the first listed diagnosis is. Okay, at outpatient surgery, you will be more familiar with that. Now here we're just doing the theory. When the class is over, you guys are doing the practice. That means that you are reading it in detail. Here, I'm pretty much just skimming and going over what I want y'all to know. Okay, and what place y'all should be in. Okay, so they do have 4 exercises here, and they're telling you not to use your book, but I want you to go ahead and use your book. Okay, and here you know it's surgery, but you're just finding what the first listed diagnosis is. Okay, so after that, and this is for your homework tonight. This is also in that chapter 3 right here. This is also in the chapter 3, which we're going to do that as well, which is additional diagnosis, and using more than one diagnosis. Now, if you guys see, right, did I take it down? No. Right here where it says section 4B, codes from A through T88, ZOO, and you guys know what the Z codes are, like office visits. U codes are sickly codes. Okay, so in that chapter, I want you to to the section, go to the section of the guidelines that we just did. Okay, because that's directing you to the guideline. I know it seems like a lot, but it's not. Once you set 2 hours, an hour, you'll be fine. It's not going to seem like it's so overwhelming to you, because it's gonna come. I'm telling you, it's gonna come second nature to you. Your guidelines is like the most thing that you're gonna read. That's how you're gonna learn how to code. Okay, they just want you to pretty much go there. Okay, so the appropriate codes from the A, the T, the Z, and the U must be used to identify diagnosis, symptoms, conditions, problems, complaints, or other reasons for the encounter service. Okay, y'all understand what I'm saying? So when you go to section 4B, it's going to give you a long description of how to code these. The Z codes, the guidelines. See the guidelines that state. Let me show you where I'm not supposed to keep it up more than 30 seconds. So that's why I have to keep taking it down, even though it's just a screenshot. But I'm only supposed to leave it up for 30 seconds. Okay, but I want you guys to make sure that you stay in the right place. I'm on page 50. So official guidelines for coding and reporting. Official guidelines for coding and reporting. Section 4, period B, period, codes from A, X, Y, Z. Section 4C, accurate reporting coding. We haven't gotten to that one yet. We're doing this one. Just make sure when you are studying, you have this book and you have your ICD-10 book with you. And what you're going to be doing next, what time is it? I got like 8 minutes. You're going to be doing additional coding, and it's going to show you how to format the additional coding. Additional coding as in the patient is there for multiple reasons, or the patient was diagnosed with multiple codes. Okay, and here is where you're going to go in your book. So if I'm going to open my ICD-10, so I'm opening my ICD-10, and I'm going back to introduction. I'm going back to chapters for the guidelines. I'm in part 1, introduction. See, this part 1, there's 3 parts in your ICD-10. So you may have, again, you might have AMA, you might have AAPC, depending on which book that you have. In order for you to find those things in your guidelines, you're going to have to know where they are. So you guys remember my other book. This is, let me get a minute. This is crucial. I'm using the ebook. That's the only reason I can flick to this real quick. I'm flicking through this. See that's section 1. I'm flicking through this because I'm using 2, 4. See, so look, y'all. Here's section 4. Diagnostic coding and reporting guidelines. Remember section 4, period A, period B. This is what they want you to look at right here. See. So I just imagine, and down here you're gonna find it. This is where it's gonna be more explicit. It's gonna be more detailed down here. You see right here. So you found it right there, right? So when you come down here, this is where it's gonna be more explicit. This is where it's gonna give you the definition that you're looking for, and that's why you have to read the guidelines. And I'm on an ebook, so it doesn't look like it's a lot, but it's the only way you're gonna get used to what you need to get used to. And just like I said, just break it up. You don't need to overwhelm yourself with the reading. Don't overwhelm yourself with the reading. I would do, like I said, I would do 2 days. Yours days is Monday. Class days. I'm gonna put that in here. Class days. So class is normally Monday, Friday, and Saturday. Those are class normal days. Now, because I haven't even made it to get out of town yet, I'm still out of town. Yours classes is usually 6 o'clock. We on a temporary 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And I was just telling somebody that I kind of like the early day for you guys, especially where everybody's off on furlough, and I got more time. So I have more time to get at you. So again, I'll probably end up doing the 9 o'clock classes anyway. But no matter what time I do the class, you will have class Monday, Friday, and Saturday, and most of you will do the archiving anyway. Okay, and some of you who are on live, if you have, you don't even have to be on live. If you have a question, you can always DB me and ask me whatever you want to ask. Okay, and I appreciate you. Everybody email me, physicians at Sapphire Coding. That's fine. You guys can email me all you want to. If you don't, I'm gonna put my email up here. Because I know some of you don't ask questions through class. That's fine. You can ask questions off class. Okay, so physicians at sapphirecoding.com, that's my email. And you guys can email me if you have a question, or you can DB me here. What do they call it? DM. We call it discussion board, because in discussion board is when we discuss stuff. But they call it DM. You can also DM me here, or on my website. You can also send me a message through my website. I automatically get those messages. I know she's calling me. They know I ain't in church. Hold on. SapphireCoding.com. Okay. So you also can go to SapphireCoding.com if you guys also need to get me. A message comes right through me. So for the book Step by Step, which is what we are working in, let me show y'all that book. So some of you guys who are in and out of the class, I want to make sure when you guys get ready to archive this is your go-to book. So let me see. I won't try to put the whole book up there. We did it yesterday. Did we do it yesterday? Did you? No, I ain't let me do it today. Because you still can see the book, but you can't see the whole thing. Step by Step Coding Edition. So this is the book right here. So this is the book that you should be in, and this is the Step by Step Coding Edition. This is your go-to. I mean, we as instructors, this is the book that we use across the board. So I don't care what college you go to, we all use the same book across the board. So make sure you get this book, okay? Make sure you get this book. Okay, so I only can leave it up 30 seconds. I got to check it down. That's your go-to. So that workbook is the same. That is your go-to. Your ICD-10 book. One of these backgrounds I got right here, your ICD-10. But I got them covered up because you can't really put the full name on there. But that's your ICD-10 book that you're going to use. You can use AMA or you can use AAPC. Okay, and that's actually the book behind that. Okay. And we only just did that, just because we wanted to make sure that everybody had the book, okay? So that's the reason why we put that up there, to make sure that you guys get the correct books. And the step-by-step book is the only one that we use in the schools, because that book is explicit. It is step by step how you do coding. Step by step. It says step by step because it is step by step. And y'all know me. Y'all know how I teach. I got 2 minutes. Y'all know how I teach. I go through each one. I go through each page. And y'all know I don't move until I'm satisfied with the page that I'm going through. So we're still on chapter 3. And I told y'all yesterday there's going to be 3 parts to chapter 3, because we're talking about the guidelines, first listed diagnosis, unconfirmed diagnosis, outpatient surgery. Okay, so the outpatient surgery we just started talking about. Okay, and we just now talking about additional diagnosis. Okay, then we got to do Z codes, external causes, observation stay, first listed diagnosis and coexisting conditions, uncertain diagnosis, Different from unconfirmed diagnosis. Okay, chronic diseases, documented conditions, diagnostic services, therapeutic services, pre-operative evaluation, prenatal visits, and then the chapter review. Now, no, I ain't making that up. That's the whole look. This is the whole chapter right here. This is only three. Look. So, yes, we have to go through this so that you can get familiar with this. That's why I don't want to overwhelm you with this. I got one more minute. Just remember, your classes are Monday, Friday, and Saturday. This is extra class I'm putting in here. Class will be tomorrow. Will be again at 9 o'clock. Just make sure you guys get in on it. If you have not looked at any of the past chats, make sure that you look at the other chats so that you can be on point with these. Now, in the chapter 3, we are up to additional coding. Okay, we're up to additional coding, but you guys can always move past me. You can always move past me. We're up to additional coding. The next thing that we're going to start on tomorrow is the Z codes. We're going to start on the Z codes. So today you are to practice what we did. Just do the first listed uncertain diagnosis and then the Z codes. And the guidelines is every day, so I don't have to tell you all about the guidelines. Guidelines is every day. Okay. So it's already 10:16. I gotta sign off. Thank you guys so much for joining the class. We are going to sign back on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, the class will be 2 hours. So you guys get ready for that 2 hour class. I have to go tomorrow 9 o'clock. You guys get in at 9 o'clock. That class will be 2 hours. You guys go ahead and archive this, and don't forget, if you guys stay to the end of this, my class is now $400, but you guys got a $59 voucher in this chat, and it's also down below. Check out the website, check out the books, so you guys don't miss anything. Okay, I'll see you guys